Oh, I love it. Well, thanks. Hi, Victoria. Nice to see you. So Victoria is another projector. She's actually like Jesus and I, she's a mental projector. So the mental projectors, we just have either our head, our ajna, or our throat defined. Every other center under our throat is open or undefined. So kind of gives us this ability to really see our like life a little differently. And then of course we have all this openness that we have to kind of just be aware of with the conditioning and just really honor more of our self-care. So I think every type is, has their uniqueness. Different authorities are really here to make their decisions differently and respond to the world in their own way. So it's cool that we kind of have a mix of people here. And yeah, again, we're all projectors. So I think this will go beautifully with the conversation today around waiting for the invitation. So let's just go around, do a little brief introduction, maybe just say, if you know your authority types, we're projectors, but your authority type might be emotional, splenic, mental, or ego or sacral, anything that is your authority type. And then also just where you're tuning in from, and maybe one interesting thing that came up for you this week. So let's start with Hope.
Oh gosh, I don't know my authority type. I wish I knew all this stuff before.
Let me see if I saved it. I'm gonna look real fast because I might have saved it.
Yeah, I'm in Gainesville, Florida, and this week, so many things have come to me, like, and I don't even know if it's from human design, but knowing what something feels like in your body, like if it's yes or no, and just a lot of things have come up. Even tonight, I messaged to Debbie because I just sent her the link. And because after I asked you that question, if we're having a call, I went away. I turned off my phones. I just left everything. And I actually laid down because I felt like I was physically getting tired or taking on too much from, I don't know if it was the world or what, but I had to just cut off. So when I laid down, I actually fell asleep. So I don't know if that has to do with my human design, but you know what I'm saying? Like just knowing and feeling and just trusting what my body is saying.
That's really, really important for human design. I mean, anybody, but especially as projectors, listening to our body, knowing when we've had enough and giving it that break to recharge, to show up. So thank you. That's awesome. I'm glad that's something that's coming up for you and you're getting to kind of practice and experiment with it. Yeah.
Thanks.
How about you, Debbie?
Hi, I'm in Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida, which is Northeast Florida. So we're really kind of South Georgia. And I'm about an hour and a half from Hope, who's down in Gainesville. And so we've been friends now for a couple of years, I guess. And she discovered this, but I had actually heard a little bit about human design from a podcast that James Wedmore did like a year ago. And it was I was driving, so I didn't have a chance to run mine. And but I was very, very interested. I've been working with a mentor. His name is Jim Fortin. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of Jim, but he uses ancient wisdom in combination with transformational psychology, basically. And so his whole thing, he has a Be Do Have manifestation series that he runs, a transformational for both business and personal. So this has kind of taken me from that and into, this new world of human design. I am I'm trying to see, because I ran mine on one system, and then I ran it also using that human design app that you had suggested to us. And so let's see, what am I? I'm a projector. My profile is a 2-4, which they say is an opportunistic hermit. My inner authority is emotional. Oh, I do have genetic trauma, which is shame. I might have to do some hypnosis on that to get down to whatever happened. My strategy is waiting for the invitation. So I am, it's interesting also I have an open taste and my environment is a natural shore, which I live a half a mile from the beach. So it's like, okay, I'm living out a lot of this. So I have my heart center and my solar plexus center are defined, but everything else is open. So I know I've been influenced a lot throughout my entire life, and I'm the oldest person in the room. So there's a lot of stuff there probably that needs to be unpacked. Just very, and I've always said I felt like I was a sponge because I was always just taking in a lot of stuff. And I was always kind of translating that to more around knowledge. But as you start to, look at, at this design that tells you, you've only got these two little centers that are defined, all this other stuff is getting influenced. And there's a lot of things I would not say are really my nature, but to me, it seems right. So I've been adaptive to this world a lot for the last 68 years, let's just put it out there. And so there is a lot to kind of weave through and figure out, what's going on.
Yeah, I think that's with a lot of us as projectors, that openness really gives us that opportunity to just to deepen our wisdom, just to really know what is true for us and to discern, because, we are taking in so much sensory input and information from the outside world, and it can persuade us, and that's okay. We're not here to be perfect, but we're here to kind of notice when maybe we're getting pulled a little too far from our ability to be adaptable, when we're being a little bit too rigid or sucked in somewhere that really, is going against our nature of this openness. So I think it's great that you're at a point now where you're kind of reflecting on where you're at and doing a little bit more of the inner work to just discern, okay, I'm here, I've done this. Now, what can I do moving forward that is more in alignment, that is more adaptable to how I want to live my life? And I think human design is a great tool to kind of help guide you in that process. So
Wonderful.
yeah, awesome. Thank you. And we have Fozia who joined us as well. What we're doing is just kind of going around sharing where we're from, our profile type and authority, and maybe just some insights that happened over the week. So Victoria, why don't you share next for us?
Hello, everybody. Nice to meet you guys. I'm Victoria. So, yeah, I am a mental projector like Molly, and I have only my head and my ajna defined, completely open underneath the head. Yeah, what has happened? Oh yeah, I'm from Austria, but I live in Bali currently. And what has been happening for me is just noticing about when I invite people versus the other way around. However, I don't really get many invitations. I'm together with an MG boyfriend, and I feel like if I'm not like if I'm in his presence the whole time and he's not inviting me, then pretty much nothing happens. I have to like go out and socialize myself. He doesn't really socialize, so it's more me. And but I don't have, like, for example, I did my Reiki course 2 weeks ago, and there was this girl, and she started to talk to me. And I mean, maybe this was recognition, but I'm trying to figure out, like, when is it okay to be like, hey, cool, okay, let's go for coffee later on. You look cool, and like, you know, because I'm a 4/6, and yeah, like you, Deborah, you have the 4 also. So it's like um, our opportunities are in the social networks. And this is something that I really realized, like, and then I started to just invite her, and she's a generator, but I feel so seen from her. So it's like, okay, this contradicts, because if I go into like radical transformation, it's like, don't do anything, just sit back. But for me, it's impossible when I look at the social settings, you know, because it just comes so naturally to me. Like, I don't know. So yeah, that's something I've been kind of like pondering about. And this is like the first time I'm in a group of like where we talk about human design. Normally I'm kind of like I'm in women's circles, and I'm in spiritual groups and meditation groups and all these things, but never human design. So it's really nice to geek out on that a little bit. And for me, it's really just kind of sharing experiences. And I also need a group where I can actually soundboard all the stuff that's in my head and get it out. I'm really just babbling now. I have no idea what's going to come out. And yeah, but really just having the awareness in my life, what's going on. And for me also, soundboarding has been, yeah, okay, so my authority is soundboarding. I think it's the hardest authority ever. I wish I could have this innate knowing like other people, like, oh, okay, I'm emotional, I have to wait for the wave to come down. For me, it's like, okay, I have to pick up my phone and Voxer it out. It's like a walkie-talkie thing. I don't know if you guys know about it, but where you just actually just speak your mind and talk about the decisions you have to make and stuff like that. Like for me, it's just not clear. I don't really have this innate knowing in my body at all. I think, because I really don't know what it feels like to have this knowing inside of myself. I just did this 10-day meditation retreat where I only focus on my body, but I'm still not clear about what it actually means. And yeah, what else? I think I'm just gonna end there.
Yeah, thank you. I can definitely, yes, agree with everything you said. I think for all projectors, it's a process to really tune into our authority, because we are so conditioned and so open to the outside world. So, you know, we hear about, oh, using your intuition to guide you, you know, people outside of the human design realm, or, you know,
Yeah.
listen to your gut response. And it's like, that doesn't
Yeah, what the
work
fuck
with
does
life.
that mean?
Correct.
One day it's
Right.
this, then it's this. It's like,
Right.
huh?
Yeah. So I mean, it's awesome though that we have this modality, and also just multi-dimensional way for us to move through invitations or to really make decisions. So yeah, thanks. Fozia.
Hi. Sorry that I'm late. I just like looked at your stories and I saw the link and I was like, oh my gosh, it's 3:07. I'm gonna join.
Yeah.
So hi everyone. I'm Fozia. I'm in Honolulu, and I'm a 4/6 also. I'm a 4/6 self-projected projector, so I'm a G projector. And I've been in my experiment for 3 years now, and I'm actually also a human design reader. So I eat and breathe human design, and that's how Molly and I connected. But it is, you know, the experiment is ever changing, and there's always layers to it. And I've had some really cool things happen in terms of with my experiment, kind of like seeing how my aura, like what my aura is just naturally drawing towards me. And also because I have G authority and it's the magnetic monopole, it's like, you know, my G really magnetizes me towards things, and it magnetizes people and experiences and things to me. But I just got back from a trip to Seattle, and I was on the plane coming home, and there was this young man sitting right next to me, and I had my AirPods in and was minding my own business and barely aware of him, and was actually listening to a human design podcast. He turns to me like after, like, I don't know, 5-10 minutes in, and he's like, how are you doing on this fine day? And I was like, oh, I was like, hi. And this kid just, he was so drawn in by me. I wasn't doing anything. I just was sitting there like this with blinders on. And he just really wanted to talk to me, really wanted to engage with me. Like, and he, of course, I ended up running his chart. He actually asked for a reading on the plane. And I was like, well, I was like, it takes me an hour and a half to do readings. And he's like, well, we have 6 hours. And I said, yeah, but I also charge a lot of money for readings. And he's like, okay. But I ran his chart for him. So he's a manifesting generator. So he was really responding to my aura. I guess my point is that I was just minding my own business. I wasn't going outside of myself. I wasn't looking for recognition. I wasn't doing anything. And it's really amazing what happens when you can just like be with yourself, in alignment with yourself. And this actually happened to me a couple of weeks ago. I was on a walk in the evening. I had sunglasses on. I had my AirPods in. And this person approached me and was like, I just had to talk to you. Like, I never met him before. And we ended up, going to dinner and watching the sunset. And I'll probably never see him again. But it was just a really cool thing, because all that I've wanted my whole life is recognition. All that I've wanted is to be seen and to have these experiences and to interact with people. Because also I'm a 4/6. And so it's like, where are the people? And, how can I connect? And so it's been really cool just to be like in my own thing. And what happens when you do that? And then yesterday I went for a job interview, and the job turned out to not be a good fit for me job-wise, but I ended up being so seen and recognized for who I truly am that I was offered this other opportunity that is way more aligned with who I am, that I was not expecting that in the least. And so, I'm in my 40s now, and I've really been deeply in my experiment for several years, and doing also a lot of subconscious reprogramming, because that's also what I do with clients. I'm trained in that, and I do it for myself. And it's like the more and more clear we get, the more and more aligned we are, the more authentic our frequency is to who we are. We really don't have to do anything. We just get to sit back, and it takes a lot of trust. And I want to say something too about the MG boyfriends. I had a generator boyfriend for all of 2021. And I swear that because I was so conditioned by him, I was not getting the invitations or the networking opportunities. And I'm not saying break up with your boyfriend at all, at all. But I just have to say that, like, I was so conditioned by him that there was no, like, my aura wasn't my aura. It was him. And once we broke up, and after I crashed and burned and got over my heartbreak, I started to come back to myself. And sorry, I'm really self-projecting. I'm also gonna stop quickly, but just that I had this realization the other day that, like, it's just so important to look at what our truth is when we're by ourselves, as opposed to how we think or what we feel or the decisions that we make when we're with other people, because it really, the truth comes when we're by ourselves, because that's when we're in our own aura. So I'll stop there. Thanks for letting me self-project, but it's really nice to be here with all of you.
Thank you, Fozia. Yeah, I'm excited that we have such a diverse group here, all levels. And I think that's what's really exciting too. We get to kind of hear, each other's stories and journeys and wins of the week that can really inspire us too, to step more into our being, our aura. I'll just share, I am a mental projector as well. A mini win this week. I will have to say that really over the last few weeks, since stepping more into human design, and really just letting myself dive into it, because I think there was a lot of resistance before. I think I was like tiptoeing around it because I was afraid that if I dive into it, then I'd have to like commit to it or something. And it was this big kind of modality in my life that I loved, yet I was still kind of like, I'm not sure. And then finally, I just was like, you know what, it's time. This makes so much sense for me. I called it in. And so over the last few weeks, what I've noticed is how many people I've attracted or even just met who are into human design, who know about it, and who are just curious. And then in addition to that, other opportunities that, that I'm not even thinking about anymore, because I really am stepping into that surrender. So letting go of trying to push, force, and create, instead allowing myself to be visible, become seen, and become available for invitations and opportunities. And so with that, that's kind of the conversation today. I want to talk a little bit more about how we can make ourselves visible, and then how, what to do when we are waiting for the invitation. How do we prepare for the correct invitation? So there will be opportunities throughout this next portion here just to jump in. If you have something to say or question, just feel free to unmute your mic and share. And also jot anything down. We'll be doing a little bit of journaling, so that'll be helpful. I think for us to kind of bounce ideas or bounce our experiences off of each other, and just to kind of sink a little bit more into our strategy. So again, waiting for the invitation. Now, projectors have this really unique aura for us where we are penetrating. So that means that we are shining our light out into the world, shining our light into our environment, not necessarily on us, or, maybe not all that's, some people don't like to be shined on. Some people don't want that spotlight right on them. So in order for us to be recognized, we have to wait for that invitation to truly shine our light and to truly be truly share information that will be received, so we are recognized. So that basically means for us is, like we've all shared, kind of stepping back, taking time to slow down, be in our own aura, and not initiate. We're not here to be manifestors. We're not here to be generators, and we're not here to be reflectors. We're really here to be seen when we are invited. So of course, as projectors, we have insights, wisdom, and information we want to share with others. We can see things that others cannot. With our spotlight, we're watching the world around us, and we're figuring out things that don't work. We're figuring out things that do work. And we want to be able to step in and share our insights and our guidance to make the world around us a better place, people around us better people. But again, if we aren't invited, that is going to lead us to that not self theme of bitterness. That's going to make us feel cringy or resentful or just sticky, not right. And a good example of this would be doing any kind of sales or trying to sell yourself or a program to people who really didn't ask for it. Unless someone is going to come to you, or unless they show up curious and wanting to know more information about maybe what it is you're doing, kind of feedback that you could offer them, that's them asking for the invitation. Otherwise, we just keep floating on, hands back, no initiating. Again, this can be really hard. I will say, like, it is so frustrating sometimes where I'm like, I want to do all this. I have the idea, the inspiration, the energy, it's all there. I can pull it together. But then I realize my human design says, no, you need to be patient, and like your time will come. So just be patient. And also, going off of that, I just want to remind you that as we are patient, as we are kind of stepping back on the sidelines and observing the world around us, we get noticed. We get noticed by those people. They say, hey, she's doing her own thing, or she's really not complaining of this, or she doesn't have this issue, or whatever it is. And then people get curious. And that's, again, when the invitation comes. That's, again, when people start seeing your aura, when people start noticing you. So again, our aura can be very intense. I don't know if anybody's ever called you intense before, but I get that sometimes. And I don't realize how intense I am when I'm one-on-one with someone and I'm just locked in. So just with that in mind, not everybody can handle our intensity. So just, again, don't take it personally. We're not here for everybody. And take a step back if that's happening to you. If you're feeling that resistance, if you're feeling, critical, or feeling almost like you're judging yourself as well, take that step back. It's not you. It's just the way your aura is being received by that other person. So what I want to just have us do for now, this next little bit here, is to reflect on times when we did initiate, when we didn't wait for the invitation. So if you have a journal out, just 1 or 2 things that you can reflect on in the last, 5 or 10 years, anything that you can remember where you did not wait for an invitation. And so you initiated something and maybe it didn't go as expected. Maybe nobody came to your party, or maybe nobody bought your program, or maybe nobody bought your artwork, or, took you up on an offer. So just list 1 or 2 things that you can remember in the last year, so that kind of left you that icky, sticky bitterness feeling. And we'll just take time, maybe another couple seconds before we come back together. You don't have to write out the whole story, maybe just what it was. Okay. So, and just as a reminder, guys, I only do the 40-minute calls on this. So we have about 10 more minutes. I'm happy to reopen the call if this shuts down on us after 10 minutes. And if you feel called to jump back on, we can keep the conversation going. Just use the same link as before, and we'll do another little bit to finish up. So the next part of this question, this reflection opportunity, is to write out 1 or 2 times where you did wait and you did get an invitation and how that felt. So think of, again, maybe waited and somebody asked for your advice on what dress they should wear for dinner, or, they asked for your advice on what they should do with their marriage or their children, or even life guidance. So if you can think maybe over the last 5 or 10 years when you felt truly recognized. Okay, we'll kind of come back if we've have at least 1 or 2 things that we've been invited into. And just briefly, as together, we'll just kind of reflect on how that experience felt for you, how being recognized made you feel. Maybe, again, successful is our strategy theme. When we are recognized, we feel successful, and we might feel seen, happy, excited. And there's something interesting when we do get invited, when it is in alignment and it is a correct invitation, where we feel that satisfaction. We feel somewhere where life just makes sense, right? Because we are here for that. Okay. And before we move on to the final part here, does anyone have anything they want to share about that invitation experience? Maybe the word or the emotion that you felt during that? Feel free to hop off or unmute and share.
I'll just share something real quickly. In an invitation, sometimes there's 2 sides to the coin, because you may be invited because of a certain skill set or relationships that you have, but the invitation may not necessarily be authentic. And because in this situation, I had the skills and I had the, experience, but it was really being taken advantage of. And, in some time, I know it was successful, but it was like I was being used.
Mhm.
So there was some bitterness associated with that, even though that I know that the outcome was what needed to happen.
Even though you were invited, correct? Yeah,
exactly.
yep. And that's kind of what, when we have to be honest with ourselves about, is this a correct invitation? If I say yes, is this really going to make me feel successful? Or am I going to enter it with resistance and bitterness? And so just a good reminder to reflect and to be, use our authority, right? Use our authority to make those decisions for those invitations. Thank you for sharing. That was awesome.
Okay.
Bozy, did you have something you wanted to share?
Yeah, I just received this invitation yesterday when I went for this job interview, and I told you about it, Molly, but it was like out of left field, but not really, because it's something I've wanted honestly since I was 12 years old. So I interviewed with this clothing designer yesterday to be a production assistant or like work in the showroom. And I didn't know if it was entry level or if it would be like, a good fit for me. It turns out they were like, you're way overqualified for this job, but we just loved your cover letter and we had to meet you. And the owner said, actually, she said, I stalked your Instagram and I wanted to ask you if you would model for me next month for the photo shoot that we're doing for the fall collection. And I was like, oh my God, yes, I've wanted to be a model since I was 12. Like I had acne and a monobrow, and like I'm only 5'3", I'm not tall, but and like I've had kids, like I don't have like, I don't have like a model body, but her brand, she's also a mom and her brand is for petite women with real bodies. And she's like, you are perfect for my brand. Never in a million years did I think I'd go in there and I'd walk out with this invitation. But like, I mean, I'm sure that somewhere in the back of my mind, I probably felt like it'd be so cool to model for her, but like, that's the difference, right? Where like, I did not bring it up. It wasn't even in my mind, in my conscious mind, but that was one of the most success I don't think I've ever felt so successful leaving a group of people that I had never met before in my life. I mean, there's nothing like that feeling, just total success. And I didn't even get the job, but it actually felt more successful to me than if I had taken that job, if that makes sense, because it was so aligned with who I am, So yeah, it was great.
That is, I know, I'm so excited for you. I love that.
Thanks.
How about you, Victoria?
Yeah, would also like to share, now that you mentioned the photo shooting, I was struggling for a moment, like, oh no, I'm really not living as a projector at all. I can't think about any invitation in my life, like a true one. But then when you mentioned photo shooting, yeah, I also got invited once for a photo shooting where I can model, and that was through Instagram. There was just this random guy messaging me and saying, hey, we're going to be in your town and we're looking for a model for a bridal brand for bridal dresses. And it was just so amazing that he just came up to me and I felt really, really recognized and acknowledged. And the photo shoot was just amazing because we were like walking through the streets and then there were all these other people on the streets recognizing me and saying, oh, congratulations, you just got married and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, even if I didn't. So it was fun. And that came, and then something else that came also through Instagram was a few years ago, I was really, really passionate about drone videos. And then there was this guy just randomly texting me, hey, I want to buy a drone video from you because I'm having a vlog and I need this specific shot. that you have? And I'm like, yeah, sure. He just came over to my place and grabbed the and I sold the video for a few bucks, and he just transferred it over to his USB stick. So now that I'm thinking about it, quite a bit of stuff come for me through Instagram. And yeah, I was always wondering, should I actually continue on Instagram, or is it too much of a like distraction from my actual life? But yeah, and one more thing I'd like to share. The worst thing was network marketing. I felt so unsuccessful, so bitter. I had this mentor, he was so successful, and he's like, I mean, Vicky, I'm already giving you the sales funnel. I'm already giving you the steps, the A, B, C, D. If you can't do this, he was really mean, actually. If you can't do this, I'm sorry, you have to work in a grocery store. I was like, what? Like I was in my early 20s. I just didn't understand how come it's working so good, so well for him and not for me. Like, I made 0 sales and I was working at it for many, many months. And yeah, so I know, yeah, never ever for me.
Yeah, I definitely had that very similar experience. I will say we're about to jump off this call. It's about to end. If you are feeling the energy, I am, there's still a little bit more I want to continue to explore with you guys. Hop back on the link and I'll see you all there.